There's an understanding here that although the body, of course, will not last forever, and of course it deteriorates over time, we're not taking it with us. It's the soul that perpetuates. It's a spiritual component of our being that perpetuates. However, the body does play a very, very important role in our lives, in our spiritual lives, in our enjoyment here on the planet, and I might add, our capacity to express what it is that our soul is here to express. And I also am quite passionate about how empowered we all are to care for this body and to heal it if we're suffering from uncomfortable symptoms, if we feel confused about symptoms or a disease we've been diagnosed with, if we feel somewhat stuck, or even maybe we've heard that it's not possible to heal the symptoms, or we feel perplexed as to why we don't have all of the energy that we wish we had. And I truly feel that the body, most people's bodies, is not even being used to 50% of its capacity, and that's probably being generous. I think we've really lost our way in terms of our relationship with the body and how to care for the body. And yet, speaking about that, talking about what you need to do to take care of the body is only one way of healing this relationship with the body. And tonight, rather than tell you what I want, what my intention is to take us through a journey where we can explore for ourselves the pathways between our own sense of awareness and the body, so that we can begin to hear from the body itself what it needs. If you look out there in the world, there are so many things that we could potentially be doing for our body. And on the one hand, that's a beautiful thing because we have access to so much information. But on the other hand, it's incredibly overwhelming. And of course, we can't do everything, and we can't do everything all at once. And probably we wouldn't want to do everything all at once. So part of this reconnecting to the body and to the sense of intuition, which is really, intuition is how the body speaks, is really, really important for aligning us with a more and more harmonious and connected and mutually supportive relationship between the body and the soul. The body itself is not a fixed thing. It's constantly changing. It's constantly trying to reach homeostasis in the midst of whatever it is that you're going through in your life right now, whatever it is that it's been exposed to. And my belief is that the body is always doing its very best to support us and to support our soul on its journey. My sense is that there is this sacred marriage between the body and the soul. And that even though the body is dense, it is, if you go into it, with a high-powered microscope, essentially you would see that it's also spirit. It's just dense spirit, right? So the body is constantly changing, but as we shift our beliefs, and also we shift the way that we treat our body, it allows the body to change in such a way that it becomes a more and more powerful vessel. Let's put it that way. And so in our relationship with our body, it's really important to question some of the beliefs that we may be carrying, we are likely carrying, that might even be unconscious around our body and what it is that it does for us. Unless we change the belief that the body is doing something wrong, then there's really no way out. So, I can tell you that I believe that your body is always doing the best that it can, but it's only when you begin to relate to your body more directly, which is really what my intention is tonight, is to bring us into a contemplation of the body and to create maybe a friendlier space for relating and listening that enables us to sense for ourselves the not only benevolent nature of the body, but actually that it is our greatest ally on this human journey. So just really learning to listen and to really open up those channels of communication with the body. It's like any relationship, sometimes when there's miscommunication, all it takes is just more intimate listening, taking more space to to be together and to listen more deeply without imposing your idea of the other upon it. And certainly, I think in terms of a relationship with the body, I do believe that it's speaking to us all the time through the sensations that we feel, through the symptoms that we have, which are felt often as sensations. We just haven't been taught that even though these sensations are uncomfortable, they are a valuable form of communication and they do need to be heard. And right in the midst of those sensations that we're feeling or symptoms that we're having is actually the clue to how to heal them. But again, oftentimes when the body starts malfunctioning or seemingly malfunction, we tend to more turn away, or we may run to the doctor, or we may ignore it. And the name of the game here is really deeper intimacy. Look in, look closer, listen more carefully, and see what it is that the body is expressing through whatever it is that you're feeling. So perhaps we can start now with beginning to go into our meditation and make our way, into the body itself. So one of the habits that we have is that when we talk about the body, it's kind of like we look at it from up here. When I speak about my digestive system or something, it's like I'm thinking about it, I'm looking at it from up here. But what I'm going to be asking you today is to actually go right into the body, to inhabit the body with your awareness. So it's not a thinking of it, it's just a being with. So as you sit here, let's just first of all acknowledge that there's this substance here called our body, which we've all been living in for our entire lives. Of course, it's changing all the time. But here it is. And it's sitting on the chair or the couch or the ground. And there's kind of a weight to it. There's a substance to it. It feels different than the space in front of us and behind us and on either side of us. There's a density to it. And there's a sensation to the body resting on the ground. And you can feel that. There's kind of a downward pull of gravity. There's the meeting place of the body with the chair. What is this thing called the body? What is it actually? When I'm not labeling it feet and legs and stomach and neck and spine. So one of the things I'll be encouraging in this meditation is to, as much as possible, let go of naming and labeling and explaining and trying to understand. We're going to have, as much as possible, a firsthand experience, a fresh experience with the body. When I let go of everything I think I know about my body or the body, what it's doing right, what it's doing wrong, what it should look like, all of that. That's really when we are in intimacy with the body and with anybody, actually. If I'm speaking to you and all I'm thinking is, oh, well, this is what she said last time, and this is what she's going to do, and this is what she's thinking, I'm not really with you. I'm with my idea of you. And so same thing when we want to deepen our relationship with the body, as much as possible, we step away from the mind and we enter in to the actual felt sense, because that's the only thing that's happening, right? We don't want to relate to our past because that's not actually happening right now, even though we may have past experiences with our symptoms. And we don't want to relate to the future because that's not actually happening either, even though we may have some fears or concerns about the future of the health of our body. So the key to really deepening in relationship is recognizing that it's happening in the moment. That's the only place the true relationship is actually happening. So as you feel your body settling into your chair, you feel the weight of your body coming down. Maybe your feet are on the ground, maybe not. And just kind of notice all those sensations towards the bottom half of the body. And as much as possible, if you notice that you're kind of looking at the body from above, see if you can descend. We're actually going into the body, we're inhabiting it. And just let yourself take up residence in the bottom half of the body. And you may begin to notice various sensations there. So again, let's forget about the labeling of hips and legs and feet. What we're in here is this field of sensation. Some of you may be noticing tingling in your toes, as I am, your feet, maybe some pulsing, maybe some achiness in some joints. Maybe the brush of your clothes on your skin. Maybe your pants feel too tight, in which case I encourage you to loosen them. Let's do our best to make the body as comfortable as possible. And so your attention is probably going to want to slide back up to the head because it's so used to being there. And I encourage you to just drop it back down. Just be persistent with it. Just drop it back down. It's not going to be very interesting to the mind or to the ego, but this is where relating happens, in the moment. And if you are, in fact, like me, feeling some flow and some tingling, that's often a sign that energy flow has increased. So wherever you put your attention, the flow of energy does increase. And so this practice, even though you get no insights at all, is actually increasing life force to the parts of your body where you're putting your attention. And life force is really the bringer of healing. But I also want to say that as we do this journey through the body, you may also have feelings come up. You may have memories, images show up, insights. So just open to all of that. Not trying to necessarily understand it. Just allowing it to come in, just very naturally. So many of us will notice that at some point, if not already, we begin to encounter sensations or feelings that aren't that comfortable. And this is really where you're encouraged to stay anyways. Again, like in a relationship, when you get those uncomfortable places in your relationship with another person, you likely know that the best way to come back to harmony is to really stay, to listen to each other, so that you can have greater understanding And same thing with the body. When it is expressing more uncomfortable sensations or strange sensations, just stay open. It's all part of how it is expressing itself and communicating. And you don't need to understand what that communication is about. Just the very act of coming into the body and being available and open is in fact opening the channels of communication that will serve you beyond this meditation. By coming into the body in this way, we're saying, I'm here, I'm listening. I want to help you to fulfill your role, which is to serve my soul in this lifetime, or whatever that is for you, whatever insight you get around the role of the body, which is to perhaps enable me to experience my human life with more joy, more pleasure, more energy, more aliveness, more connection to the world around me. All of these things happen through the body. And no doubt, as we continue to make our way through the body, there will be some resistance around this kind of meditation, this kind of contemplation. And so that too can be embraced. Oh, here's some resistance. We just acknowledge that. Or some parts of the body may also feel numb, like almost non-existent. There's like a blank space there. And that too is a valid experience that can be acknowledged. Some parts will feel heavy, others will feel light. Contracted, spacious. And there's not one experience that is better than the other. We're in a paradigm that goes beyond good or bad, better or worse, should or shouldn't. And as you allow attention to move upwards now, perhaps into the pelvis, just notice, let yourself land there. And just maybe start really in the floor of the pelvis, the genitals and the anus, and just kind of just noticing any sensations that you feel there. Maybe there's some clenching. And also notice for yourself what happens when you shine the light of your awareness on these areas. Oftentimes it's like this heat lamp that creates like some melting. When you bring awareness to a place that's been tense or clenched, it really seems to enjoy. It's like a body slipping into a warm bath. It just goes, ah. It's like that when you bring attention and awareness to those different parts of the body. They really enjoy our presence. And then you may also be noticing the pulse of the breath. If it's reaching down into the belly, you're going to notice it expanding through the pelvis and even through the sacrum, perhaps, some of us. So you can include that in your awareness. You can notice that some areas where the breath is bumping up against are quite elastic, where the others feel perhaps a little bit tight. But throughout, it's this attitude of friendliness, where you're meeting these places with a real kindness and an openness and a willingness to just be available, to give everything the benefit of the doubt, to not make assumptions. And of course, when anyone is met that way, they relax, right? They feel more open. They're going to share more. They'll be more vulnerable. It's the same thing with your body. When you meet it in this way, even though it's a part of your body that maybe you have not liked, you don't like how it looks, you don't like how it's functioning, whatever it is. So it may be challenging in some areas. And maybe as you listen to this recording again, you can revisit and really cultivate that relationship more and more. So we're not asking for everything to be perfect and hunky-dory from the beginning. It's a process, just like, again, any relationship, particularly one that has been ignored for quite a while. And at the same time, you don't want to be overly pushy about this. You don't want to kind of go in and storm the gates, So you're walking into the body, and it's just this very kind of open, just like letting it come to you in a way. You make yourself available, you bring your presence in, and then you let it come to you. You don't want to intimidate it with too much grasping at trying to make something happen. So we're feeling that breath moving into the belly, and maybe it's even changed for you since you've brought awareness there. Maybe like me, you've had a sigh or a yawn, which is very common. Maybe something that was feeling quite dense is starting to feel a little softer and more expanded. And now we can slide the awareness a little bit higher up into the abdomen, where you'd have all those soft organs. But I want to get away from labeling anything and just kind of go with the feel of it. You may notice that certain parts in the abdomen feel a little bit tender. Often underneath the right rib feels a little bit tender for most of us. And you just open to that. And you let the breath brush it, kind of gently massaging it. And then letting the breath and the attention slide up a little bit more, perhaps into the low ribs, perhaps the back of the ribs as well. Just noticing that territory and how it feels. Maybe colors come to you. You may notice now that you're here that maybe the ribs expand front pretty easily, but not backwards or not sideways. So you notice without judging or categorizing or evaluating. Perhaps you're noticing, like I am, greater sense of aliveness and warmth in the whole chest area now, maybe even flowing down through the arms and into the hands. So this is evidence that energy is moving the body is feeling more alive, as it's feeling seen. All of those areas of contraction begin to open up. They begin to feel safer because we're here, we're present. Notice how the lungs feel. Again, I know I'm labeling there, but as you go into the chest area, just notice how that feels as it inflates and deflates. Maybe the shoulders are lifting a little bit as well. And each time we go through like this, it's like we're doing it for the first time. Beginner's mind, as they say in Buddhism. And in time, all that it feels like is just this kind of moving field of sensation. Things coming and going. Sensations, again, images could be coming as well as memories and colors. But everything is just moving, constantly moving. And we're doing our very best to not add any analysis, because analysis is going to come from the conditioned mind, from what we already know. And the territory of true relating is the unknown. It's allowing that which we are relating to expand into these edges of possibility, greater possibility, of potential, of evolution. That's always going to be the unknown. So when you find yourself in your mind and analysis, just come back to the raw sensation, feeling. And there may also be a sense of greater spaciousness, which is not really a feeling, it's a sense of something. And we'll travel upwards to the upper part of the body through what we know as of the shoulders and the neck, the throat, noticing any sensations that you feel there. And slowly making your way up into the head area. And you'll notice there's like this sensation map relating to the cheeks and the mouth and the ears and the eyes and the brain. Just noticing all of that. How does it feel to be in the body in this way? So there's a state of presence that comes in when we are just relating to the here and the now. It feels quite open, quite relaxed. The heart often will feel softer. the mind might feel more relaxed, quieter. It's more pleasant to be in a body when we're really present. The things that we saw as problems, quote unquote, begin to be more inviting. There's more curiosity that we're able to bring, more friendliness. You know, the laws of the body, of how to best take care of the body, are actually written in the cells themselves, in our being itself. And so we, without even any kind of effort, we find ourselves drinking more water, or going to bed earlier, or getting back to that celery juice, or whatever it is. Wearing more comfortable clothes. And so now I'd like to just kind of leave the body where it's at and just notice the state of presence that we have cultivated here together this evening, and allow yourself to just rest there for a little bit. Resting in presence is probably one of the most nourishing things for our entire being. As we let go of micromanaging the details of our lives, so much energy is freed up. So many channels in the energy body are opened up, and there's this inpouring from all of our energetic openings, being nourished from above, from the heavens, from below, from the earth, and everything that is around us really comes pouring in when the body is relaxed in this way and not so contracted around its ideas and its beliefs and its stories, its concerns, its fears. And this inpouring is the healing impulse. That's where it comes from. It's when our being becomes harmonized, such that we are connected within and without. And so that the river of life is flowing through us, through our individual body, but also flowing through us from all around us, as this energy body that we are is open to vastness, you know, the whole universe. And all the resources that are available from the heavenly realms.